Hey everyone, welcome back to another Splatoon Splat Zone tips video. All of the previous tips can be found in the video description below. And almost all of those tips still apply to Splatoon 2, so it's still worth checking them out and practicing them. As always, if you already know these tips, great. But there are people that are new to the Splatoon series, and there are people who've played this for a long time but don't practice them. So anyhow, with that out of the way, let's continue where we left off in our previous Splat Zone tips video. Has your team ever gained control of the Splat Zone and everything looks like it's going really well, but then all of a sudden the enemy steals control of the Splat Zone from out of nowhere? One of the main reasons this usually happens is because you or someone on your team overextended and gave the opponent an opening to steal the Splat Zone. Overextending simply means you're being too aggressive and you put yourself out of position. In this video, I'm going to talk about the best positions to be in order to defend your Splat Zone and where not to overextend. Number 5. Controlling the Splat Zone in Kelp Dome. On this map, after securing the Splat Zone, I see a lot of people overextend, and as a result the enemy overtakes the zone. Here's the map of Kelp Dome. You want to stay in this area and maintain control. Do not push out into these areas even if there's an enemy there. Why? These are choke points. As long as you keep the enemy from pushing into the zone, you are fine. If you ever go over there, the enemy can just go around you from over here and now you're the one stuck on that side of the choke point trying to push back in. Now if you can get up here, you can prevent the enemy from taking these two paths. But generally, I like to stay down here because once they get on that walkway, they are super exposed and I can shoot them down. As far as the other side is concerned, you can also perch yourself up here, but again, I like to stay on the ground. Now let's watch a short clip of how my team and I took control of the Splat Zone, and by not overextending, we were able to shut down their advances. Number 6. Controlling the Splat Zone in Moray Towers. Here's the map of Moray Towers. Your team is on the left and the enemy is on the right. First things first, you should always have someone defending your Splat Zone back on your side at all times. This spot is not ideal for long range weapons because anyone can come up from that side. But you're thinking, what's the big deal? The enemy is far away from the Splat Zone. If he or she takes that path, they're nowhere near the zone. Well, once someone gets on this ramp, your attention is focused in this direction and another enemy can simply approach from this side and steal the Splat Zone. Same thing for this position. This position is ideal for long range weapons because you can defend these two paths. All other ranged weapons, medium to small, should stay around here, where you have access to any opponents taking this path or this path. But you might be asking, Sam, why not defend from over here? I'm literally in the way and preventing the opponents from reaching our Splat Zone. Remember, the enemies have a positional advantage and can shoot and see you from up here, as well as on the ramp from the right. But you cannot see them from down here. Now let's talk about defending the opponent's Splat Zone. We already talked about why you shouldn't be over here. If you have a long to medium range weapon, you should ideally be up here because you can defend this area. We don't care if the opponent goes along here because as long as we have a teammate defending our splat zone, we should be fine. Even though that's an ideal spot, you don't need to be there to defend that splat zone. Do not force yourself up there if there are enemies here and here. They have height advantage and can shoot you down. If there are enemies up there, remember, do not force yourself up there. The best place to stay is to defend over here. Now what if you're defending their splat zone, but you lose your zone? If you're the only one defending their splat zone, do not leave and give up your position and try to regain control of your splat zone, because the moment you give up your position, they will immediately take it back and all of that hard work trying to get their splat zone is for nothing. Instead, if your teammates are respawning, let them try to take it back. However, if you and a teammate is defending their splat zone, it's okay for you to go back and help, because you won't be leaving their zone unguarded. And finally, if two of your teammates are each defending the zones, and assuming the opponents are near their base, the other two should try to secure this area and keep the enemy preoccupied. But do not go any further to the right because you'll be overextending. Why? Because if you're at any point along those ramps, the enemy can just go around you. Number 7. Controlling the splat zone in Walleye Warehouse. Even though this map is pretty small and has one long choke point on the side, there are a few things you need to keep in mind when trying to maintain control of the zone. Number 1. You want to make sure you have complete control of this area. Number 2. Make sure you have an even number of players protecting both sides. If there are too many teammates on one side, it'll be very easy for the enemy to overrun the other side, which happens more often than not on this map. Number 3. Do not overextend and try to go into their base. This means don't go past this area. Once you go up here, there are multiple paths for the enemy to simply go around you. Besides, take a look at how long it takes me to get up to their base. By the time I get up there, anyone who was already here could have swam around me, or worse, splat me from up here. Number 8. Controlling the splat zone in Mahi Resort. Once you have control of the splat zone, it is crucial to maintain these two areas. Once you have control of this side, you can prevent enemies coming in from all of these directions. They're usually coming from this side since their spawn is over there. And when they do, they'll need to come down and through here if they want to get control of the zone. Gaining control of this area prevents the enemy from flanking. If you have this area well covered, I suggest staying here, because if you try to move up through this choke point, anyone that is up here or here will see you coming, and not only could they splat you, but they could jump down and take control of the area you just left. Another area where you shouldn't overextend is this, because if they already set up there, they will splat you when you hop between platforms or when you climb up their walls. And when the stage transforms, you'll still want to stay here and keep these areas on lockdown. Number 9. Controlling the splat zone in anchovy games. Once you have the splat zone and the middle area of the stage under your control, you need to defend 3 areas. The first area is over here. It's pretty easy to defend. The other 2 areas are ideal places you want to secure. Remember how in Moray Towers I said the high ground over here is an ideal place you should secure if you can, but don't force yourself up there if they already have a hard setup? The same thing applies to these 2 places, so don't force yourself up there. Let's talk about this one. This is the second one we need to defend. This area is particularly hard to secure because they have these high ledges they can attack you from. Retreat back into the middle area if they attack you and you're about to die. And finally, let's talk about the third one we need to defend. This area is hard to get to because there's usually an opponent here at this choke point. But if you do get up there, stay where you are. Don't go any further because the enemy can go around you from that ledge over there if you do. One last thing to note is that the enemy will never be over there because of this wall. So don't waste your time trying to defend that. Well, that's it for now. If this helps you, or if you know anyone that can benefit from this, please share it, because we won't win if your teammates don't know what to do. Anyway, bye!